Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Hello friends, this is Vijay. Welcome to ForumIAS Hindu Daily. In our today's news analysis, we are going to see the list of topics in the display. The first topic, exports fall 8.8%, trade deficit shrinks over 7%. Its significance is in preliminary GS1 and the mains GS3. For the rest of the topics, the significance had been given. Now without any delay, now let us dive into the topic. These are the topics we are going to discuss today. The exports fall 8.8%, then the trade deficit shrinks over 7%. Then this is the second topic. This is all about India and China from the perspective of China. China, India and the promise of the power of two. Then this is the third one, a sustainable model for women's leadership. Then this is the fourth one, on reservation for women in politics. Then this is the last one, Eurasian Water Rhizoscope for J&K stream. Now, in our today's newspaper, actually I left few topics, especially CJI comment about the governor, because in the upcoming days I am expecting that it will be coming the editorial part. There we will discuss it very briefly. Here is the first article, kindly go through it. Why in news? Exports have slided by 8.8% in February. Meanwhile, the trade deficit also shrinks over 7%. Here you should know one thing. Here the trade deficit also got shrinks. It means we are also reducing the imports. So compared to the previous year report, this year both the exports and the imports have slided. That's why the trade deficit also got shrink. And the reduction was around 7%. Here no need to get into the topics and no need to get into the facts and all, because the facts will be changing each and every month. So that's why I am advising not to get into the values and the informations with respect to this topic. Here we need to discuss very briefly about the certain basics of economy, especially the external sector. And with respect to the international trade, you might have known business with the foreign nations is not a new phenomenon in India. India used to trade with foreign nations even in BC. Especially the peripherals of Erythraean Sea, it is a document. It describes the trade between the countries, including the India. So since 1498, Europeans did a trade with the rulers of India using the sea route. At the time, we were trading in spices like pepper, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom. So these are the few spices India exported in its historical past. From 1947 to 91, the Indian economy remained largely as a closed economy. The high taxes were levied on the import of items. Foreign investments like FDI were restricted. However, after 1901, the government came up with LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization. So the foreign trade, it also improved significantly. And exports and imports, these days, it have been skyrocketing like anything. So today, with respect to India have been exporting around some 7,500 commodities and it have been importing around 6,000 commodities. So these are all the things we are doing with the 190 trade partners, and export imports are not only restricted to commodities. Service is also a major export import item. So these are all the few things you should know. Now let us discuss about the balance of payment. Here in the image you can see the balance of payment document. This is related to the credit item. This is related to the debit item. So in each and every account, there are two accounts are there, current account and capital account, then errors and omissions. So these are the three domains are there. And here in the current account, we are having merchandise exports and service exports. In merchandise exports, the exports related to the goods and all will be recorded. And in the merchandise imports, the goods related to the imports from the foreign destinations will be recorded. Here the service which are importing from offshore destinations also will be recorded. Then the investment accrued from the investment, the income accrued from the investment, this and all will be calculated here. Then the unilateral receipts. Unilateral receipts means gifts, then other one-way transfers, these things and all will be calculated here. So both the debit and credit will be calculated in current account and capital account. And in capital account, you might have seen the long-term borrowings, short-term borrowings, then the gold shipment. And here the long-term borrowings, the FDI, then FPI, then external commercial borrowings, these all will fall under the long-term and short-term borrowings. With respect to India, we are having 85% of our debt, that too especially the external debt in the form of long-term borrowings. Therefore, with respect to the current account, we witnessed, I think, the trade surplus in the year of 2003. After that, I don't think so we ever witnessed the trade surplus. But the capital account is always surplus. And these years, we are matching the current account deficit with the capital account surplus. So that's how the forex reserves have been building up. And BOP, the balance of payment of a country, can be defined as a systematic statement of all economic transactions of a country with the rest of the world during a specific period. Usually it will be 1 year. Okay, so 1 year is the time. And here the balance of payment, it indicates whether the country has a surplus or a deficit trade. When exports exceeded the imports, there is a trade surplus, and when imports exceed the exports, there will be a trade deficit. So these are the few basics you should know. Then the purpose of the calculation you should know. It actually reveals the financial and economic status of a country. And balance of payment, it can be used as an indicator to determine whether the country's currency value is appreciating or depreciating. So if the country's currency value is depreciating, means it will favor the exports by improving the competitiveness of the goods in the international market. If it is appreciating, means then the respective country goods will be losing its competitiveness in the international market. And another one thing, it helps the government to decide on the fiscal and trade policies. So the balance of payment, it will be provide the government the big picture of the scenario in the external trade. And also it provides an important information to analyze and understand the economic dealings of a country with other country. It will also provide insights into the trade pattern of the country X with the country Y and Z. Okay, like that you should know. Now let us discuss about the components of the BOP. First one, you should know about what is meant by the current account. So it shows that the exports and the imports of visibles and the invisibles. What is meant by visible? The merchandise goods and all visible, and invisibles means the service, incomes and transfers. These all will be clubbed together, invisibles. So the invisibles, we won't see the physical appearance of the good, right? So that's what we are terming it as a invisible. And capital account, it shows a capital expenditure and income for a country. Okay, here the examples have been given. The external commercial borrowings, FDI and FPA. FDI and FPA means foreign portfolio investment and foreign direct investments. FDI and all, usually it will be dealt directly with the company, and Ministry of Commerce Affairs have been regulating it. And FPI, they actually invest the amount in the share market, okay, which are regulated through the SEBI. And the external commercial borrowings, I already told you, as like a private entities and government entities who are taking loan from the domestic banks, they will be taking loans from the offshore banks. So where actually they will be getting the loan at the very low interest compared to our domestic economy, but it is also having some negatives, because if the dollar value is getting appreciating, means then the amount of the loan and the interest to be paid also will be enhanced. So that's also one of the cause of concern with respect to India. As I already told you, India is having 85% in the long-term borrowing, only 50% is in the short-term borrowing. So we don't have any risk with respect to the ECBs and all. And the errors and omissions, sometimes the balance of payment doesn't fit the balance. This imbalance is shown in the BOP as a errors and omissions. It reflects the country's inability to record all international transactions accurately. Now, the changes in forex reserves. So, if the trade is surplus means, which means the exports are very high and the imports are very low, means then the forex reserves will start build up in the form of USD, then Euro, then UK's pound, okay, pound sterling and all. It will be added into our coffers. If not, means the resource what we are keeping in our forex, it will be drained. Okay, so RBI have been regulating RBI here have been overseeing the forex reserves. So these are all the few things you should know. And apart from that, you should know what is meant by import cover. So import cover is a measure of how many months of imports can be covered using the forex reserves held by a country's central bank. So it is an important indicator of the stability of the currency. With respect to Sri Lanka, they became bankrupt because of the reason they don't have the sufficient import cover. So that's what they couldn't able to import anything from the offshore destinations. So that's how the country became bankrupt. Then here the factors of the slowing global demand, because these days because of the slowing global demand only, our exports had been surged, not surged, actually it is reduced. And meanwhile the imports also reduced, right? So there are 4 factors behind it. First one is weaker global demand. The global economic growth is decelerating sharply in the wake of persistently high inflation across the all developed economies. As you know very well that the US economy, they have been raising the Fed rate. Okay, US federal rate have been enhanced because to curtail the inflation. So because of the increasing the FedEx rate, actually you might have known the Silicon Valley Bank, it attains the bank failure. Okay, so then the inflation, the persistent heavy inflation have been prevailing in the developed economics. This is also one of the main reason. Because of very weak global demand, the demand for oil and other related products also reduced. So that's what from India, we couldn't able to export any oil and other related exports in a massive scale. So that also have been bringing down our exports rate. Then the rising global trade tensions, you might have known indirectly, still the US and China, they are involving in the trade war, and the war between Russia and the Ukraine, it is still actually creating repercussions in the international market. So these are the few things we should know. Because of these factors only, the global demand is reduced. And there are some positive signals are there. The first one is high domestic demand. Still our domestic demand is very high. Therefore, we won't face any crisis with respect to the economic cycle. And the investment cycle is also very perfect with respect to India. The private sector investment, it had attained 6 lakh crores. It have been reflecting the trust what the private sector is keeping upon the stable government. So these are all the positive signals are there. So that's it, friends. Now let us dive into the next topic. China, India and the promise of the power of two. This is the second article. The article was written by Magia. It articulated the Chinese perspective towards India, the entire article. So the article states that it wants more peace and progress with India. So this is the tone of the passage. And generally, the 2023, diplomatically, it acquires huge importance from Indian perspective because India have been acting as a presidentship for Shanghai Cooperation Organization and G20 this year. Let us discuss about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization at the end of this article. Meanwhile, China is also having some important sessions this year. The National People's Congress of China and the National Committee of Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. So these are the two conferences. It is going to take place in China. So this year it will also acquire huge importance because of these meetings with respect to China also. Here we are going to discuss the basic tenets of the article. Friends, as we know, today the China have been shifting its gear towards modernization in all fronts. Okay, so here they have been emphasizing more on high quality development. So these initiatives going to pound out new opportunities for other developing countries also. So here in this article, they stated that two are the neighboring ancient civilizations and we are having shared heritage. So we should work hand in hand like that. They have been insisting. So almost two countries, they are having a staggering 2.8 billion population. So these both countries are representative of developing and emerging world. Okay, so they also represents the so-called global south also. And these both countries, they are having more convergence than divergence. In convergence, you can see both these countries raising their voices against the climate change related facts, especially the mitigation and adaptation funding and all. Then they unitedly fighting against the developed countries in WTO talks. Okay, so WTO, then climate change. Then they are unilaterally working towards a free transit in Indo-Pacific region and a new global world order. Although slight differences are there, but still both are having certain ambitions over it. The development of China in recent years, okay, we need to discuss certain things about their development. The first one, Chinese economy, it grew by 3% in the year of 2022, and it have been adding some 12 million jobs to its citizens, which means these days job creation is very meager in global and Indian economy, but that too in this tech developed landscape, creating of 12 million job is decisive tool to alleviate the remaining persisting poverty in China. So this is one of the major development in Chinese economy. China is also investing massive amount in increasing the well-being of its citizens. So these initiatives, it started providing the determined outputs to the nations. So this is what they have been discussing here. And China opened up the global economy. Chinese exports in trade volume are also increased. Here they recorded an annual growth rate of 8.6%, and its coffers also filling at a rapid rate through the inflow of forex and remittances. Fourthly, it have been creating a win-win situation. In the years 2013 to 2021, the Chinese global contribution to economic growth is 38.6%. So, which is higher than all the so-called developed countries' cumulative share. And their share is around 25% cumulatively. China single-handedly provides 38.6%. Here, China proved itself as an economic engine of growth for the entire world. Then these days, Chinese president proposed Global Development Initiative. Okay, so Global Development Initiative is nothing but it is their ambitious economic plan. So more than 100 countries, they expressed their interest, and over 60 countries, they joined in this initiative. And the article, it states that China is open to Indian exports, and it is eagerly to invite high quality products, cultural traits entering the Chinese landscape. And in the conclusions, they state that China is looking to cooperate with India to attain the shared progress, shared prosperity, like that they have been concluding. Now let us discuss about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization from prelims perspective. What is meant by Shanghai Cooperation Organization? The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a permanent intergovernmental international organization. Okay, so these are all the keywords you should know, and they came into existence through the charter which was signed in the year of 2002, and they entered into force in the year of 2003. These are all the members who are in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization: the Kazakh, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India, Pakistan and Iran. These are all the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and it is the one and only military organization India have been working. So apart from SEO, India is not a partner to any military organization. That also you should know. It is a Eurasian political, economic, military organization which aims to maintain peace, security and stability in the region. So prior to the creation of SEO in 2002, Kazakh, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia and Tajikistan were the members of Shanghai 5. Okay. So Shanghai 5, it emerged from a series of border demarcation and demilitarization talks which the four former Soviet republics held with China to ensure stability along the borders. So that's how SEO Shanghai 5 it came into existence. But India and Pakistan, they became members in the year of 2017, and on 17th September 2021, it was announced that Iran would become a full member of the SEO. Okay, so here the objectives of the SEO are strengthening the mutual trust and neighborliness among the member states, and promoting effective cooperation in trade, then economy, research and technology and culture, then enhancing ties to ensure the peace, security, stability in the region. And they are having RATS architecture, regional anti-terrorist architecture, because each and every countries in the SEO, they are facing the menace of terrorism. With respect to China, they are facing terror issues from Xinjiang province. For India, JNK and Red Corridor is there. And for China, Chechens are the one who are acting as a menace to Russia. So that's how they established the RATS architecture to combat the terrorism, separatism and extremism. So that's it, friends. Now let us discuss about the mapping with respect to the SEO. These are all the member countries in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The Russia's capital is Moscow, and for Kazakhstan it is Astana, and for Uzbekistan it is Tashkent, and for Pakistan it is Islamabad. Kyrgyzstan it is Bishkek, and for Tajikistan it is Dushanbe, and for India it is Delhi. So we don't have any elaborate time to discuss the map today. Anyway, let us discuss about the Russia and the Kazakhstan map in our upcoming analysis. Before prelims, I'll try to finish all the mappings. Okay, so here with respect to this map, you should know about the north-south arrangement. Okay, north-south arrangement of capital cities: Moscow, Astana, Bishkek, Dushanbe, Delhi. Okay, map DD. So this is the thing you should know. Moscow, from north to south: Moscow, Astana, Bishkek, Dushanbe, Delhi. Okay, so that's it, friends. Let us dive into the next topic. A sustainable model for women's leadership. Kindly go through this article. This is a nice article. So with respect to the women aspects, this is one of the good article in recent times I came across. In the introduction part, they are stating that India is home to one of the largest generation of girls and young women. In this domain, India also have been taking multiple initiatives like Beti Bachao, Beti Badao, then PM Vidya Lakshmi Karyakaram. Okay, these initiatives, they exclusively focusing on education, health, then financial inclusion, then leadership building, etc. Okay, so these initiatives have been helping in achieving the country to touch the targets what we determine under the SDG 5. Okay, so this article, it also speaks about the underrepresentation of women in certain sectors like information and communication technology. Then it have been mentioning that they don't have bodily autonomy and safety. And it also states that they don't have the power to take a decision on when to get married and whom to get married. Okay, so they are also having certain safety concerns also. So this is what the article have been stating. And here we should know about some tenets of the article. In the tenets, actually what they had given is, they talked about a education technology, and they are providing online education. It will act as a tool to bridge the gap in education, and it will provide accessible and affordable learning to them. Okay, it will also alleviate the safety concerns, because here the women don't need to travel to schools or any other educational institutions. And in this model, they also provide hybrid model. Okay, hybrid model is nothing but which is a mix of both online and offline. It is a mix of online and offline mode, and with the help of these technologies, we need to scale up these solutions to break the language and the cultural nuances, because through which we can provide educations in vernacular languages and local cultural setup, right? So it will propel their mind without any glitches. Then the thirdly, the prevailing gender norms have been allocating disproportionate care and responsibility roles to women. So which is pulling down their performance in STEM. In our last week analysis, we had discussed about STEM and the participation of women in STEM sector. STEM, it defines science and technology, engineering, and mathematics. Then because of these issues, they are also having disproportionate proportion in finance, then in entrepreneurial fields, where men are sheerly dominating. Okay, then we need to ensure adequate women representation of women in these sectors. Certain institutional barriers are also there, like insufficient maternity leave, then absence of flexible work arrangements, the lack of childcare facilities. So these are all there, but we need to take certain initiatives to break these institutional barriers. Now let us discuss what we can do. The first one, we can organize Olympiads. Okay. With Olympiads, we can arrange maths Olympiads, then science Olympiads, etc. It will give more exposure to women, and it will facilitate their career growth in STEM segment. Meanwhile, the boot camps, then the innovation labs, then the competitions, these all will expose them to practical applications, which in turn will expand their horizon of knowledge. So, secondly, they have been insisting that women need to be empowered to make decisions regarding their bodies, such as whether to have sexual relations or not, whether to whether to initiate sexual relations or not, whether to use contraceptives or not. So here the women are having very low command. So we need to empower them to be more commandful. Okay. We should also create the environment which is very safe for women, because women are facing a lot of untold miseries in their life because of the behaviors from certain antisocial elements. Then the government, it should also take some proactive measures for their inclusion in sports, because eventually it will propel their leadership, self-sufficiency, and teamwork. So it will also enhance their self-confidence, self-belief also. Okay. Already we are having national sports policy, so we need to take further steps in calibration with these policy for the welfare of women. Then in this article, they are also stating that women are involving in unpaid domestic care, and they are acting as a backbone of family, communities, and economies. Okay, so we need to redistribute their payload to men so that women may enjoy economic opportunities and outcome on an equal footing to man. So this is what they have been describing here, and we need to devise such policies that provide services, social protection, and basic infrastructure, okay, that would promote share of domestic care work between the men and women, and that should create more paid jobs in care economy, because if we are monetizing these domains means it will fetch some income to women. Okay, so then the government should focus on initiating the multi-pronged approach to enhance their employability, leadership, then digital innovations, then bodily autonomy. Okay, these initiatives will reap the benefits and will catalyze the women to achieve more and more in their life. This is the great article I have come across with respect to women. Kindly make a note out of it. You can expect the questions. It will enhance your articulation skill also with respect to the essay from social part and all. So that's it, friends. Now let us discuss the next article. So this article is also about women. The 33% women reservation bill. BRS leader Kavita have been doing the fasting. So that's what the article came in today's newspaper. You are all very well aware of the social construct of the Indian culture, right? So there is a clear-cut delineation of roles to both male and female. Even in household, the decision-making role will best be men and not with women. But there are certain exceptions. Here we are discussing about the predominant cases alone. In Indian political representations, the share of women representation is very low, guys. Even in the Constituent Assembly, after our independence, the question came there about the women representation, especially to the Legislative Assembly and the Parliament. But at that time, the issue was not discussed seriously. Even in Constituent Assembly, only 15 out of 389 members were women. So it represents the gross underrepresentation, right? But certain women, they played a very impeccable role in our freedom history, like Jhansi Rani, Kasturiba Gandhi, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, then Sarojini Naidu, then Aruna Asaf Ali. They all played certain decisive role in the freedom history. Even in Netaji's Indian Army, Captain Lakshmi Sehgal, she led the women regiment against the British forces. But even after these sacrifices and commitments to their nation, they hadn't get their due representation in this country. But don't you think women will remain in silent mode? Definitely not. They started raising their voices for their representation since 1970s through various movements. Then in 1971, the Committee of the Status of Women was set up. Okay. So here with respect to the committee, even the majoritarian within the group, they were against the reservation in legislative bodies, but they set the tone for the reservation in local bodies. Like, let us start with the devolution of power to women from the ground level itself. Like that, they came up. And consequently, in the course of time, many states, they provided due representation for women in the form of a reservation in local bodies. Then in the year of 1988, the National Perspective Plan, it made certain recommendations. So it insisted that the reservation to be provided to women from local bodies to parliament, and it provided that compulsory representation through the reservations to be provided to women in panchayats. So it paved the way for the historical 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments, where 1/3 seats of women in the local bodies was reserved. Okay, so these this is the first historical milestone in the women reservation segment that you should know. Then many states like Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, then Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Kerala, they were crossed the line and they ensured the 50% reservation for women in local bodies. It clearly had shown the sheer interest of the elected state governments in devolving the power to women. Right now, throughout the India, cumulatively the women share in local bodies are around 47 to 48%. Anyway, we are having 1/3 representations is there, but this is the amount of women who are representing in the local bodies. But the issue here is that in most of the offices, their husbands are acting as a decision makers, and these people, these women, they are merely acting as a rubber stamp. So that is the concern. And now let us discuss about the supporting arguments in favor of the 33% reservation bill. Here the proponents argues that the affirmative sections, the affirmative actions are much needed in a male dominated political structure to improve the conditions for women. So the structure is entirely dominated with male, so that's why the affirmative actions are mandatory, like that the statements have been stating, because inclusion of women will improve the decisions with a perspective of gender neutral, and women will be having more voice to represent their issues and grievances. Secondly, the women, they are still underrepresented in parliament. Only 78 out of 542 in the current parliament is with women. So which shows gross inequality in power sharing between the men and women. It actually have been reducing the lobby power for their welfare. So here the Esther Duflo and Raghav Chaturvedi, they have found that the women are acting as a mere rubber stamps after being elected to power in states like West Bengal and Rajasthan. So this is already we had discussed. So, but even in these states, they are having considerable power to invest in the goods which are very important for them, like sending girl child to schools, then tailoring jobs for the women, etc. Today in India, we are facing several issues with respect to the women, like very low nutrition among them, then skewed sex ratio, poor participation of women in labor force, and a high percentage of crimes against women, etc. So to these untold miseries, women representation in large numbers will alleviate these miseries through the power lobby. So that's why we need to take initiatives for the 33% reservation, like that they have been arguing. Then the leftist Brinda Karat, he have been stating that devolving power to women in the form of representation will break the entrenched interest of India's polity, because certain groupings, they have been wielding their interest through tightly packed power centers, which are detrimental for the progress of the nation itself. So if we are providing the reservation means, then these power centers will be break. So this is what she have been arguing. Then we need to discuss about the arguments against the bill. The first one is principle of equality. So reserving seats for women will go against the article number 14. So they also states that women through the reservation will not be competing in merit. It will be detriment to their status in society. So this is the first argument they are making against the bill, and they are stating that women are not a homogeneous society. Among them, lot of heterogeneity is existing. So some women, they might be belong to the high caste, some they might be belong to the low caste, and certain women, they will be from the highly privileged economic sections, and certain group of women, they will be from the underprivileged sections. So therefore they have been stating that lot of heterogeneity have been persisting among women, and if we are providing 33% reservation for women means it will restrict the choice of the voters. So this is also one of the argument they are making against the bill, because as per the constitution, we don't have any right to create any restrictions with respect to the choice of the voters. So they are making this claim. And the last one is the ideal family concept. So it is a traditional concept. So according to it, the men should act as a breadwinner and the women should act as a caretaker. So this is the ideal family concept. So because of the enforcement of 33% reservation bill, so this ideal family concept will be broken, like that they have been stating. But the reality is, with the initiation of the LPG in 1991 itself, the ideal family concept got broken. So there itself, the cremation was done to this ideal family concept. You see friends, culture will lose the vestige traits and it will accumulate the required traits. Okay. So therefore we need to flex our muscles based on the demands of the culture. We can't keep the woman like what they had before 200 years. So if we are doing so means we will be losing the potential and the benefits out of their passions. Therefore, the bill for reservation have been setting the right path for the nation as a whole. Okay. So I hope you all have understand the concepts. Guys, please do like our videos because we are not asking any remuneration from you except the likes. Because it takes huge effort to make this video. Your like and share will propel us to grow. So therefore, kindly do a like. Now let us dive into the next article. This is the last one. Eurasian Water, Rhizoscope for J&K stream. Okay, in these days, a group of scientists, they had actually identified some 3 waters, Eurasian waters, in the stream of Nehru, which is a Chenab River catchment. Okay, the article is all about it. And it is a near threatened species. Okay, it is a flagship species and it indicates a high quality aquatic habitats. So these are the few things you should know. Here in this article, we don't need to discuss anything. Just we are going to see a brief description about the Eurasian water alone. So out of the 3 water species found in India, Eurasian water is the least known. And it is a semi-aquatic mammal and it is a carnivorous mammal. Okay. So it has a diet mainly of fish and it is a strongly territorial. Like tigers, they will also, there is a clear demarcation of the boundaries among them. So there will be a territorial conflicts also among them. So these are the things you should know. And river waters, they are often illegally poached for pets. And according to the IUCN, it is a near threatened category. The species is found mainly across Europe, North Africa, and South Asian countries. Ireland is having the highest density of Eurasian water. In India, it is distributed in the Himalayan foothills, southern Western Ghats, and central India. And with respect to the protection, it is protected by the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. All the 3 species of waters in India are protected under the Wildlife Act. So here is a brief description about it. The Eurasian water, CITES Appendix 1 under WPA Schedule 2. Smooth coated water, CITES Appendix 2 and WPA Schedule 2. And the clawless water, it is CITES Appendix 2 under WPA Schedule 1. So these are the few things you should know. Then there should be a detailed surveys and studies to ascertain more about the occurrence of the Eurasian waters in India, because the roadkills, which is also acting as a detriment factor for them, and the increasing fragmentation of the forest and the modification of their original habitats, these are all acting as a grave matter of concern. So apart from that, the illegal poaching of Eurasian waters for their pets should be banned. So these are the things the government need to take forward. Now let us enter into the question part. Here is the first question. It is a previous prelims question. Recently, Russia hosted the 16th meeting of SEO ministers responsible for foreign economic and foreign trade activities. Consider the following statements regarding the SEO. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a permanent intergovernmental international organization founded by Kazakh, China, Kyrgyzstan, then Russia, Tajikistan and India. So India and Pakistan, they became member in the year of 2017 and Iran became the member in the year of 2021. So the statement is right. Then the second one, SEO was presided by the Shanghai 5 mechanism. After the initiation of the charter, I told you about the Shanghai 5 mechanism, right? So that's it. The second statement is also right. And as we had discussed earlier, the India and Pakistan, they joined SEO as a full-time members in the year of 2017. In 2021, Iran became a member. And it is the one and only military organization India have been working as a member. Okay. So all the 3 statements are right. The answer option D is the right one for question number 1. And the second one, this is also the previous question. I actually handpicked this question only to connect the topic what we discussed under the external sector. Okay. So the logistics sector, it is having an intricate relation with the exports. So that's what I handpicked it. And with respect to India, the logistics cost is around 21%. Okay. But for China, it is around 13%. And for US, it is around 9%, I think. So If we bring down the logistics cost means, then we can make the goods more competitive in the international market. So the logistics sector has been granted the status of the following sectors in India: the infrastructure, industry, agriculture, and services. So this is also a previous year question where we accorded the industry status to the logistics sector. Then this is the last one. This is about the Shanghai deer, and it actually usually celebrated in the Manipur. So every year the Shanghai Festival is celebrated in the Northeast India in November. Which of the following statements is true regarding this festival? 3 statements have been given. The festival is mainly celebrated in the Manipur state. The festival is named after the state animal Shanghai. Shanghai is a IUCN endangered. It is a variant of deer and it used to habitat the Pumdis vegetation. Okay, it is a floating vegetation where the Shanghai used to reside. And the Manipur's famous martial arts, Tangta, forms a part of this festival. This is also true. So all the 3 statements are right, and answer option D is the right one for question number 3. So that's it, friends. Thank you for your patience. Let me catch you in another news analysis tomorrow. Bye.